You're training, you're working, you're dealing with every single thing that we got to deal with. And plus, you do have an added extra bonus of being a female in different countries. So you might get disrespected a little bit more. Just a little bit more. You might get, or not taken as serious. Because when most people aren't really taking women's basketball that serious.
What are you thinking? Yeah. What are you thinking? Yeah. If you wanna know my thoughts, open your ears when I talk. Yeah. What are you thinking? Hey. What are you thinking? Hey. If you wanna know my thoughts, open your ears when I talk. Yeah.
Welcome back to another edition of the Arnold's Thoughts Podcast. I am your host, Arnold Lewis. I want to personally welcome you guys to this episode. If this is your first time, quick introduction. My name is Arnold Lewis, and I help athletes prepare mentally for a life of overseas basketball. Please do me a favor. If you can hit the like and subscribe button and share this with anyone that is willing and wanting to play the life of overseas basketball. This is where you're going to find all the facts, information, data, mental therapy that you need to play this game of overseas basketball, man. Let's get straight into the episode. I feel great. Let's just start off right there. I feel great today. You know, it'll be sometimes those days you just wake up and you just be like, I feel ecstatic. I feel today is a great day. That should be our mentality first and foremost. Every single day should be, I feel ecstatic, amazing, grateful, all of the above, because I'm just been blessed with a whole new day. I have been blessed with a whole new day to take advantage of what it is I love to do in life. One of the things I love to do is coming on this show and talking about overseas basketball mentality, basketball news, the overseas life. I have literally a strong passion, a burning passion to just talk about the life of overseas basketball and how I can help guys navigate through the life. Anybody that wants to navigate through this life and understand the little tidbits and topics or information that I personally went through in my life. I think this whole broadcast is all about the things that I went through in my life that I know that you're going to benefit from, because no one told me about them. If someone would have told me, I wouldn't have went through those crazy things and all the things that happened. But it's been a great journey. It's been up and down. It's been amazing. It's been horrible. It's been grateful. It's been fun. So if you've never tuned in, I'm just letting you guys know I just treat this game for what it is, and I love it. And I just want everybody that tunes in to just get the most out of it. This episode of Arnold's Thoughts Podcast was brought to you by Bold Claims Apparel. Bold Claims. It's not just a statement, it's a lifestyle. Make sure you check the link in the bio and shop all of our latest apparel today. Back to the episode. I want you to get the most out of that. More so just about being the best person that you can be. First and foremost. Are we striving to be the best person we can be for ourselves when no one else is around? When no one's there to see you? When no one is there to watch your back? When you're sitting in your room by yourself, you're looking yourself in the mirror. Are you truly committed to being the person that you want to be? Are you truly committed to whatever grind that life has for you? Are you truly committed to the burning desires that you have for your life? And I feel like if you do not have that you're not going to get very far. That is my main focus when I come on here and speak, is the first establish I am on a mission of life. My passion, my purpose, my drive, my love, everything that I have to be as a person individually, I put that first. Striving to be the best version of myself every single day is what I'm here for. And so should you. Everything that you do should be striving to be the best version of yourself. Because you know why? It's a never-ending journey. If you never stop trying to be the best version of yourself, then you will constantly always get better and better. And that is the pursuit of life. And a part of that for me is just understanding to just be grateful for everything that comes with it. That means the ups and downs. That means the good times. That means being up. That means being down. That means being hurt. That means being loved. all the craziness that just deals with life. Before I even step to talking about overseas basketball, I just like to be congruent with that first. Everything you have to offer in life is all for the betterment of who you are. The better you work on yourself, the more you work on yourself to being the best version of yourself, the more you can help someone else. We can only change this world by changing ourselves first, changing our inner being. You being the greatest version of yourself is just going to make one better person for the world, and we can only start by being that one person for ourselves. Don't lie to yourself. Do not make it seem as if you are such on this high horse or such as perfect. I'll be the first one to say, I am not anywhere near perfect. I am just a guy trying to live the best he can, provide for my daughter, create a legacy, create wealth, to make a change in my family's life, to make a change in the dynamic of my family's tree, just completely reconstruct everything that has to do with my bloodline, like everything that has to do with Arnold Lewis. I'm changing every person, everything that is tied to it. One man's choices is tied to so many people's destinies. Or what are the choices that you are making today? Whose lives, who responsibility are you in control of? What is the responsibility that you have over someone else's life because you didn't do what you were supposed to do? Whose life are you either improving or destroying by the choices that you make? I digress. That's not what the topic is, but sometimes I just have to get that off my chest because I just feel so passionate about it, about just becoming the best version of yourself. And like I said before we even get into just talking about overseas basketball, you have to understand it about yourself. In any field of life that you're in, if you're not striving to be the best in that, the best version that you can be, not what you see someone else, whatever someone else's best, not be your best, but whatever your best is, before you tackle the day, you have to come to that agreement that I will get the most out of this day, that I will be the best. I will maximize this day to the best of my ability. I will give forth maximum effort. I will give forth maximum energy. I used to have a college coach. He used to always just say, energy, energy, every single day. Burn energy. Burn energy. And it used to be so comical back then. And now that I got older, 10 years later, all I'm screaming is energy, energy. Because that's what it just takes for you to acquire what you want out of this life. For you to just get anywhere in this life, you have to have the energy necessary to get there. You have to be able to sustain it. You have to be able to fuel it. You have to be able to grasp it and take hold of it and let it just ignite you through the day, ignite you and fire you up and push you to where you need to be in life. Now let's get to the topic of today. Today is controversy. So I've been looking up some topics. I always like to be different with my topics that I talk about in today, because I haven't had really too many guests. So I've been doing like the last couple of episodes, just me, bringing up topics to talk about the life of overseas basketball or whatever it may be, basketball in general, because I'm around a lot more younger guys that are just, first, before you even get to talking about basketball. Like I was playing in the men's league yesterday. I played in a men's league game yesterday, and two high schoolers came up to me. And they were just talking because, I'm playing pretty well and everybody wants to know who I am and what I stand for. And one guy was just talking about, oh yeah, I'm going to make it to the NBA, blase, blase. And I said, yeah, it sounds good. If that's what you believe. He said, do you believe me? I said, I believe that you believe in that. Not that I believe in you can do that. I believe that you can do it. Whatever you believe in your head, I believe you believe that. So that just brings the point of what do you have to do to even make it to the next level? You're talking about overseas basketball. You're talking about being a pro. That doesn't even really matter if you can't even make it to the next level. You're trying to skip. Most guys are just trying to skip steps. They're trying to go from college. You just gotta think about it. You got a ninth grader talking about going to the NBA, and he isn't even thinking about what he's finna do for this current season or the next grade level up. How are you gonna get better from ninth grade to 10th grade, from 10th grade to 11th grade? How many colleges are you recruiting? You know, what before we even get that far, what are you going to average next season? How are you going to impact your team? What is your work ethic like to even get you to that point before we even talk about even making it overseas? How can you even make it to being a pro if you can't even make it to the varsity team and you're in school? You can't skip steps. Don't work like that. Let's get into it. So, controversial. I believe this segment is going to be like the most controversial questions of 2023. Are they the most controversial? I don't know, but these are pretty controversial questions that I've searched the internet and scoured for. I'm just joking. Let's get into it. First question or topic we're going to go over: the impact of American players on overseas basketball leagues. The topic of that. Let's see. Is American players going in other leagues or other countries and playing in their leagues beneficial, or does it take away from the talent of the local players? That is very interesting to say, because that's probably why the rule, like most guys, when you do go play overseas, there's only about 2 players. There's only about the max. There's some countries you could get away with like 3 or 4 or 5 maybe, but they're very far and few. The average amount of Americans that you're going to get on a team is about 2. 1 to 2. So bringing imports in to play on other teams, is it beneficial? I do believe it is beneficial, being biased because I am an import player and I do play overseas. I do believe it's beneficial because me personally, I learned a lot from playing in different countries because the way certain people view basketball, you can have a different dynamic and you can learn something different from different cultures. Because they all got a certain way. Every league is going to be different when you're playing in different league. I don't think I played in one league and I say they were just this exactly the same as another league. In my example or in my career so far, I cannot just pinpoint 2 leagues that are exactly the same from 2 different countries. Are they similar in some cases? Maybe. But as far as the same, it does not come across like that, because you're dealing with different mindsets, you're dealing with different cultures, you're dealing with different coaching, different structures of how players or coaches and organizations run their team and go about the game of basketball. So do American players help that, or is it beneficial or not? Yes, it is beneficial for the learning aspect, I believe. In order to learn something new, you have to be around something new as well. So I know I learned from like a lot of the guys in Argentina. There's systematic basketball. They play it in a different way. And I even learned from when I play in Chile, because that type of basketball, it forces you to be more aggressive. And if you're not put in those type of situations, you can't really learn. And most guys, when they're in other countries, they look up to most of the import players or something, or because they are deemed the best. And sometimes that'll make some players want to work even harder. When you work harder to be a better player, because you won't work harder to be a better player if you're not constantly around a better player. Sometimes just getting better and becoming better is being around better people, just absorbing their lifestyle, absorbing how they work and they train, how they go about the game. That improves the overall players. Bringing your mindset. I love to bring my mindset, a winning mindset, to every organization I come to. When I walk in, I'm like, hey, championship on 3. We need to get that internally embedded in us so we understand what's the main goal here. Championship or bust. We're here to win a chip. but we won't start working and gearing towards that unless we have our mindset focused on that. That's just something I bring to the team. Not saying that that's not what they have, but when most players or most your teammates, they're gonna get it from a player that they admire. I would say he's the best. He's our best player. He's on the team. He get paid the most money, and he's bringing this type of mindset. So it kind of changes their perspective. So I do believe it is beneficial.
What's up, guys? I just dropped my new ebook, 6 Must-Have Steps to Be an Overseas Basketball Player. You know, I've been playing for the last 9 years. I got all the steps and the traits that you need to start your journey with networking, with getting a mentor, all the things that you need to start your journey to be a protege. So go get that ebook, click the link in the bio, and make sure you get your steps to being that overseas pro one day. Let's go.
Another question. The disparity in pay between American and local players, is it justified? Ooh, is it justified? So going back to Argentina, when I was in Argentina, one of the guys who was playing on the team, I'm asking, what's the salary, right? The salary is probably like, I know one player, his salary is probably like, I was making about 5 times as much as him. 5 times as much. And that was like across the board for the most part. But then it's just, it kind of makes you be like, is that justified? I believe so. I come here, I have more pressure, I have more responsibilities, I have more weight of if I don't perform, then I get sent home. Most local players, you're in your home. Most local players treat the game of basketball not as them being a pro. It's just them as them being tall enough, or they're just good at the sport. But they don't conduct themselves as pros. That's one of the biggest issues with local players. When you're in your home and you're used to your surroundings and you're used to the league and you're used to all the things that are in your comfort zone, you typically don't go as hard. That's not speaking on all pros. That's just speaking on like majority of local players in certain countries. Like in Argentina, when I just came from, I can speak about Argentina a lot because I just recently played 6 months there, 7 months there. And some of the guys on my team, they only played because they were tall. I work hard for this. I go to the gym, I train, I do extra training, I stretch, I change my way I eat, my diet, I study the game, I focus on the game like to a different level. And the results that I receive from that is on a different level. So my compensation is on a different level. Are there players that deserve to be paid as the same as most foreigner players? Yes. Yes. But not all, because their mindset is just not geared towards that at all times. So is it justified between it? In certain situations, I believe so, because the drive of being like the drive is just not as strong. There are players who are very committed and they focus on the game, they learn, but there's some, it's just it's like a 90-10. 90% aren't like that. They might have a 10% or that 1%, 9 out of 10. That one, he's going to be all out. 1 or 2 that's going to be all out, really focus on the game, really trying to be a pro, really trying to improve, try to get better. But most times, most guys just be comfortable. And if I'm coming here with all the pressures coming and stacked against me, I believe I should be paid more because I'm the one that's expendable more than anybody on the team. You bring me in for a reason. I'm supposed to get paid more. It's the way it is. Next question. Should women players get paid the same as men's players? I think that I don't. I have a lot of respect for women players. And I don't see no reason why they should not be getting paid as much as men. But I don't know. That's a very strong one. Like I have one of my friends. She's been playing for the last, I think about 6 years, maybe. How long has Pancha? Pancha, if you're listening to this, How long have you been playing? I don't think I asked you how long your professional career is. I think she's been playing for about 5 years now, maybe less, maybe 3 or 4 years. And we talk about this. We had an interview. Y'all can go check that interview out. It's called The Colombian Queen. We had an interview. We kind of talked a little bit about the wage gap. She was talking about the wage gap and what goes on. That's why I reached back out to her to ask her, should y'all... I asked her for her input, but I think she was busy, so she couldn't really give me her input. I wanted to get her input so I can portray it to you guys to think and see, should y'all get paid more as much as men? Y'all do the same work. The season, on average, if you go across the board, the average duration of most season is about 6 months. Some are 4 or 5 months, some are 8 months, like when you get to Europe, but just the average 6 months. So let's just go by the average of a 6-month season. You're spending 6 months away from your family going to different countries. You're training, you're working, you're dealing with every single thing that we got to deal with. And plus, you do have an added extra bonus of being a female in different countries. So you might get disrespected a little bit more. Just a little bit more. You might get, or not taken as serious. Because most people aren't really taking women's basketball that serious. The guys and the people who are in the game, they take it serious. But if you're looking at it from an outside perspective of the world, they're not really taking overseas basketball serious. They don't even take the WNBA that serious. It's now starting to get more recognition, but that's why most females go overseas to play basketball, because they're going to get paid more. You don't even get paid. You get paid more outside of your country than you do inside of your country when it even comes to the best women's league in the world, per se. I don't even know if I guess it would be the WNBA would be the best female league in the world. But their compensation of what they're getting is not that much. I think the max is like $250,000 for a season. That's it. And then you look over and you see guys in the NBA who are getting max contracts. What's the guy from Timberwolves just got like $273 million. They ain't getting that in WNBA. You ain't getting that overseas like that too. No. I probably seen or met or heard about 2 or 3 females that's getting paid more than men's players. And that's low level players. And these are high level female players. So should they be getting paid the same as men's players? That's a very I don't know. I love the game. So I can see the game for what it is. So I can judge, be like, oh yeah, you're a high ranked player. You should get paid like a high ranked player. I guess let's look at it as a player standpoint instead of a gender standpoint. Instead of a gender standpoint, I look at it as how you are in your productivity as a player. How you play, if you deserve the work that you put in. If you put that work in every single day and you grind and you win and you do what you're supposed to, you dang right, you're supposed to get paid. If another guy, if he's just because he's a man, he's playing and he's not producing the way that he's supposed to, then no, he should not get paid more than you. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. That's just my take on the situation of women players. Should they get the same salary as men? Moving on. The exploitation of young talent in overseas basketball. The recruitment of underage players. Is it ethical? I think that's a very open-ended question as well. Because peep this situation. What if a guy, Luka, 15 years old, I think I just seen a stat of, I think it was, what's the guy who played for the Timberwolves, the point guard? He's been playing basketball since he was like 16. Ricky Rubio. He's been playing like the last 16 years professionally. Hey, that just changed that man's whole life. If you're good enough to play the game at any age, I guess with most teams, what they do is they see the young player, oh, he's going to be good. Let's get our hands on him now, develop him, grow him up into our system so he always will stay with us, and in that nature. But what if he's not that good, and then you just wasted that man's time? Because a lot of times in most countries, these clubs, they hold the rights to young guys. So if a young guy is like 21 or like maybe young, like 16, and he's going to a certain club, they'll hold their rights till about 25, just to see what type of player they're going to be, what they're developing into, and they'll hold on to that. So is it ethical to recruit these kids as they're young? Yes and no, because once you get like most players, when they have a young guy, they don't have any other options for the most part, because their rights are being held by certain clubs. So if you're getting recruited and you get like picked up on a team, like most young, it's much more easier and it's much more common for a 16-year-old to be playing on a professional team. Now you got to be really good, kind of like the Lucas and the Ricky Rubios and those type of guys, the Giannis, when they're different. They look for those talent. Like you don't see too many 16-year-olds and 17-year-olds playing on NBA teams unless they're like Kobe and KG and one of the greats of all time who's just that dynamic of players. You don't really see that too much. You do see a lot more times overseas 18-year-old, 19-year-olds playing on professional teams because they groom these kids from when they're young and they grow up and they hold on to their rights. So is it ethical? Maybe so, because okay, like in South America, there's a lot of Latin countries that are very poor. They're like, I think they said that all Latin countries are third world countries. That's a stat that I heard. I don't know if that's true. That's what even though they're good cities and they have good, like Bogota, Colombia, or Buenos Aires or Uruguay, thriving cities in these countries. Overall, I think they say South America is like third world-ish. It's not like that. To me, I would say it's second world. How come we never hear about like a second world country? If America's first world, South America third, what's a second world? I think that's what like some countries like Buenos Aires. So it's very hard to unpack. But if a young guy is able to get, if they're gonna get this kid and they're gonna put him on their organization, they got to compensate them well. Make it make sense. You have to make it make sense for them. I can't be, oh man, I remember when I was in Chile, some of the guys, I'm like, how much you getting paid? Guys get paid like $100. Getting paid like $100 to play a month. It's ridiculous. I know we had a young guy one time on our team. He was like the rookie of the team, the young guy, real young, like maybe like 17, 18, had potential, could jump, long, he had potential, so I see why they recruit him. But you're paying this guy like $100. You're making him come and train as a professional pro, and you're putting him around grown men and pro, and you're not even compensating. I'm getting paid for going to practice. I'm getting paid because this is my living, this is my job. If you're going to make this kid do the same thing as grown men, he has to be compensated at least for his living wise. So is it ethical? In certain situations, it could be. It can help a kid out. It can like introduce them, improve their game, help them to become a better pro later on. But as long as it's not exploiting, let's just see what we can get out of him, and maybe he might be good. So let's just hold on to his rights and make him go through all this strenuous process and underpay him and undercut him. If that's what you're going to do, then no, it is not justified. It's not ethical at all. The pressure and expectation placed on young players, is it too much? I believe if you're like that, I believe that dog and that inner just drive that some players just naturally have, like Luka when he was young, that's not too much pressure for him. I believe that depends on the person more than if you're young or not, because there's some young guys that got more dog than grown men. So I don't believe that it's too much pressure. It depends on the person. Some people are just built for that pressure. Some people are just built to take it all. Some people are just built to handle whatever has been thrown at them on the basketball court, in life, and whatever situation. Some people are just built different. Young or not, some people are just built different. So I don't really agree. I don't really think it's that bad to say, or I don't think it's that too much to say that it is pressure on. Is it too much pressure for young kids? Because if you him, you him. If you like that, you like that. There ain't really too much more to say about that. Moving on. The role of agents in overseas basketball. The power dynamics between agents and players. Are they being manipulated? Yes. Yes, they are being manipulated. The roles between agents and players are being manipulated. What do I mean by that? I do believe that agents are taking very, 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 very much advantage of the players. Big time. They are taking advantage of the players. I really believe that, because you got to think about it. Most agents have the most connections with the teams. They got the connections. They know the coach, they know the owners, the GMs, especially if they're in the country. Like if I'm in Chile or I'm in Argentina, most of the agents normally be from that country. So they got the plug. They know. Quick little story. I remember after I left Colombia, won a championship. I didn't sign with this agent. This agent found me a job. He found me a job, and I did really well. Ended up winning the championship. Did really good. The season was over with, and I had another opportunity to go somewhere. I didn't take it, but then I ended up. A whole bunch of life situations happened, and I ended up taking it. This agent felt so entitled and so irate that he started telling me that I need to give him half of my commission, I need to sign with him for a year, and I got to give over my rights to him. Whoa, time out. Who are you to dictate my future and tell me what I'm supposed to do with I need to give him half of the commission, I have to sign to him for a year. Just because you found me one gig, I never signed to you, sir. You don't dictate my career. You don't dictate the way I live my life and go about my basketball career. I can just wake up one day and say I'm done. Does that make me entitled to do what you ask me, or entitled to do what you tell me to do? Hey, you have to go play here and you have to go do this. Agents act as gatekeepers. And especially agents like that who try to downplay you. They try to, so say an agent is in Argentina. I'm speaking a lot about Argentina today because recently came from there. But this particular agent was Argentinian, for example. And he just felt as if, okay, well, since you're not going to sign with me and go about my way, I'm going to just talk about you to every else one of the teams. And I'm going to throw mud on your name and disrespect you because you didn't do what I wanted you to do. And you didn't sign with me. Those situations and occurrences happen all the time. Just because you didn't do what they wanted, they will try to smear your name. They will try to throw dirt on your name. Don't try to find your job. Try to really blackball you. I've had an agent just last season. Someone told me, reach out to this guy. I reached out to the guy. He didn't respond. I asked him, hey, I'm trying to get into this market. Someone gave me your reference. This is the person. You can check in with them. If you have anything that be able to help me, I'll greatly appreciate it. Have a good day. He never responded. Fine. I moved on to the next agent to try to work with, acquire their services. Something happened where those two agents end up bumping into each other and going after the same job. One agent was going after the job for me, and the same agent that I reached out to who never responded to me. He never responded one word to me. He read the message because it was on Facebook and it gave me the read receipt, but he just never responded. But he went to the team and told them that I was trying to get over on them and hire a bunch of agents and do all this and that. And this is like, you're throwing dirt on my name and trying to blackball me, and I never even had a conversation with you. We never came to any agreement. We never even talked before. But you're automatically just throwing dirt on my name and trying to not let me get the job possibly because you have another player for that club in that situation. So the fact that I just wrote and reached out to you, you felt the need to just try to blackball my name. Those situations happen all the time. I had a coach talk bad about me because he thought I was a sinner, and I never projected to be a sinner. That followed me for about 8 years of my career. I tried to go back to this country again, and they brought up a situation that happened 8 years ago. The power dynamic, the gatekeeping, they be smearing on your name. It is a big issue when it comes to these agents. The role of agents in contract negotiations. Are they prioritizing their own interests over the players? Once again, yes. Agents 100% are prioritizing their interests over the players. You're going to find more agents that are looking out for themselves than they are looking out for you. They would, man. I probably went through like 6-7 agents in my career because it's very hard to find someone who's just really down for you and really rocking with you and really want the best for you. It's always a hidden agenda. It's always some kind of hidden agenda that they have that they're looking to just come up off of you. I had a situation with one of my friends. He was going to Mexico or something. And one of the agent hit him up that we knew previously and gave him a number. He went to his agent, had them talk to the team, and they offered something like $3,000 more, like significantly more than what the other agent was offering him. So that means that you knew what the correct price of what they had, but you were trying to come up off the top and collect off the top $3,000-$4,000 off of his name. Man, that happens all the time. These agents be definitely trying to look out for themselves. They're definitely trying to look out for themselves and eat up off the top of players. They're trying to get over. It's a game. It's a hustle. Being an agent it's a hustle. You don't care about every player that comes. Oh, you need a job. You're halfway decent. You got a little bit of resume and film. Hey, I can plug you in over here to this bad team. They just so I can get the commission off it. Whatever happens, happens. Not even knowing that they probably don't pay well. They have a history of bad management. They have a history of not treating their players well. They have a history of cutting players. But as long as I get my first commission out of it, I could care less because guess what? There's 100,000 of you right behind you who are willing to take that same job. I could probably get him in there, get the money from him. He gets cut. They're going to come right back to me. I'm going to find another player, get him in there, get his cut. They fire him. They're going to go right back to me again, and it's just recycled. It's a hustle. That is a real situation. That happens a lot when it comes to agents. Not every agent is like that. But it is very rare to find someone like that. I have one of my friends, he has his agent. He known him since he was like in high school. He's been his agent and he's been working with him since he was in high school. And I told him, you are blessed beyond measure just because you have someone that you have a personal relationship with that you can choose to be with at all time, and they really rock with you and they really want the best for you because you grew up with them. You have a personal relationship. This is a relationship. We're trying to get the better for my career. I'm trying to advance in my career. I'm trying to live my life and take care of my family and be in a good situation. If you don't have a correct relationship, or not correct, if you don't have a strong bond with a person, they're not going to really care about you too much. They're just going to keep it business. I don't really care about you too much. I'm just trying to get mine just like you're trying to get yours. But I have the upper hand because I got the connections to the teams. So is it more about the connections with the team or the relationship that we're building to try to get to our ultimate goal and our ultimate place? And a lot of times it's not like that. They don't really care about if you can get to your best. They're not looking at a 10-year plan for you. That's a good question. The next time you talk with an agent, ask them, what's our 5-year plan? What is our 5-year plan? What are we going to be doing? What we should be looking at by year 2, year 3, year 4, year 5? What is the trajectory? What is the positioning that you have for me? Before you sign with an agent, that's what you should do. Ask them, what is our 5-year plan? 10-year plan? Before you just jump in and, I need a job. You're too thirsty. You can't be thirsty. You have to do your due diligence. The lack of regulations and oversight of agents. What can be done to protect the players? To protect the players, I really feel like every agent should be FIBA certified. You shouldn't be able to be an agent if you're not FIBA certified. That's the only way you can protect the agents from the players, and you can protect the players. Because if you don't even have a FIBA certified agent, there ain't really too much they can do for you when a team misuse you or abuse you or take advantage of you and don't let you, they rob you or they don't abide to the contract. Most of these agents don't be FIBA certified, so they can't even really go to FIBA and fight for you and get your money back or get your situation handled, because you're not even a regulated agent. You're just a guy that knows a lot of players and knows a lot of teams and putting things together. I think that I see the stat I had put. What episode that was? I had the actual stat of how many agents are FIBA certified. It was probably like less than 1,000, and the ones that were not FIBA certified were like almost 9,000. like to be FIBA certified, you have to like take a test. You have to pay to like keep your license every year. So you're held by a higher standard because you're literally having to pay and to be on point with that. Like, it's not just you just wake up and show up and then it's like, hey, I got this player, and then whatever happens to him, you just dip off into the sun if something bad happens to the player and you're not there to protect them. But if you actually are under like contract and you have to worry about losing your license if you're not taking care of the business that you're supposed to be taking care of, that is the only way that agents will actually be able to, like, you can put more fire onto them and they will start doing what they're supposed to. They will be not so much the wild, wild west and everybody out here bad mouthing and trying to take the players down or not really look out for their best interests, because there's no repercussions for them. You take away the repercussions for agents. I don't even think I've had a situation where I heard an agent ever getting in trouble for mistreating a player or putting that player in a bad position. You never hear that. You never hear a situation where an agent is lost his license for abusing a player or putting them in the wrong position, or agents getting, like, you don't really hear too much about that. The worst of the worst agents will still have jobs. There's people that still sign to them. People that still be getting opportunities and signing players and still stick them in a bad situation. Happens all the time. Go listen to the interview of the truth about China basketball, and it just kind of shows you like management of people who say that they're agents and what they do for players and the situations they end up in, but they're supposed to be representing these players. They're supposed to be big time people representing these players, got agencies, got all this, and look how they're treating the players, and look at the types of situations that they end up in under management of these agents. And none of the repercussions fall on agents. It's the player's fault. Always. No matter what, player fault. Get stranded, you don't get money, you don't get paid, player fault. Not the agent who knew they don't pay well, who knew they don't treat the players well, who know all these things, but it don't matter. I just got to get money. It's a hustle. So there has to be more jurisdiction and more. They have to be someone that's regulating. 8,000, 9,000 agents who are not even certified out here just running around getting over. It's a great hustle. It's a great hustle. Y'all just stay tuned. If you tune into this podcast, and if you stay with this movement, I am letting you know, whoever hears this, I have a very big game plan, very big ideas in the works. How long it will take me to get it done, I'm not sure. But it is something that is going to give us back the upper hand. I'm an athlete. I'm the player who goes through a lot of these situations. So my heart is out for us players, because I know how much we get used. I know how much we get abused. I know what we go through. And I just want us to be fairly compensated. Like a union, just for us to be compensated and taken care of, and just stop the abuse when it comes to us players, male and female. I'm working on something strategic. I'm putting it out there. It's going to work. It's going to be here. It's going to change the dynamic of this whole overseas basketball life. It's in the process. Y'all stay tuned. Grow with me. Follow. And you're going to understand one day, if you're an athlete, it's going to benefit you. I'm doing this for us. I'm doing this for our lifestyle. I'm doing this to impact all the players that are up and coming and the ones that are in the game right now, because we don't have no one that's watching over our back like that. And we all know about it. We all talk about it, but no one's getting together and doing it. Until I find someone who's going to rock with me to do it, I'm going to stay on this journey. And the people that are meant to be there to help me are going to fall in line. They're going to catch up, and we're going to take this thing by storm. Moving on. The next topic or a question. I have my topics here and questions here about the mental health of overseas basketball players. Now, y'all know I love the mental health topic. This whole station or this whole broadcast is really about keeping your mind mentally strong and diving into the mental game. So, the mental health of overseas basketball. The prevalence of mental health issues among overseas basketball is enough being done to address this. I would say when I first started playing basketball, it was not even a talk about. It's not even a subject. No one cared. You having depression? Nobody cared. You're having anxiety because you're away and you're stressed? Nobody cares. No one cares about how you feeling. You getting paid. Do what you're supposed to do. So what? You're on the other side of the planet. So what? You can't communicate with nobody. So what? You're not used to the food. So what? They're asking you to do more than you're required. Who cares? Nobody cares about what you feel. You're here to put the ball in the basket. You're here to win. You're here to make sure that we get our money. And that's that. There is nothing more to it. So, is it enough being? Is it being addressed? No. Back then. Now I think it's more like now. I'm sitting here talking about mental health and what we deal with as overseas basketball players, what we go through, and just the little tendencies that we have to pick up on to help us go through a season. How to deal with different coaches, how to deal with different players, how to deal with different cultures, and how that affects your mental mind, how that affects your mood, and how that affects your life and your overall life and your marriage life at home and all these different situations. Now it's being talked about just a tad bit more. People are being more aware. Players that are playing, like I get so much reactions from guys on this network just because we all go through the same things and no one's ever talking about it. So when they finally hear somebody saying something about it, they're like, oh my God, I can relate. And I go through the same thing. And I have relationship problems. And I have problems of being depressed and lonely. And I have problems with not being able to eat the food and losing 10, 15 pounds and trying to play in the season. These type of things that deal with your mental that you got to go through on a daily basis, the conversation is starting to come up. We just have to keep pushing it forward. And I'm tuning in. I'm here to push that narrative of the overseas basketball life, mental state of the players, male and female. We need to all come together, us athletes, us players, and we need to just understand. We need to create. That's what I think I should create. I need to create some kind of group that all players can join. I'm going to say all because not everything is meant for everybody. For those who want that support, for those who need that support. I wrote in my book, 6 must-have traits to be an overseas basketball player. You must have a group of people that you can go to and have conversations with. It's literally like AA. You must have a support group. Must have a support group to support you and through all the nonsense that you have to deal with and put up with and live with. Yes, it's fun and all that, but there's a lot that goes into it. It's a lot of stress that you have to deal with. I was away from my daughter for over a year and a half playing this game. My friend just didn't see his son for like 8-9 months. And he's like, man, he's just getting older and older. And I'm missing out on all that time. You need that support group. You need that support group because you got to protect your mental. If you do not, if your mind goes down, everything else gonna follow it. That is a fact. The stigma surrounding mental health in sports industry. How can this be changed? More awareness. We have to just talk about it more. Just like now we're talking about it, and this is one of the topics, controversial topics. We just have to talk about it more. We can't be afraid to talk about it. I posted a clip on my Instagram not too long ago, and one of the guys I interviewed, he was just talking about we don't let our brothers know. We do not let our friends know what's going on. Our friends or other players or young guys or not even or just other players, we just do not let them know. We don't talk about it enough. We don't bring enough awareness to it. That's more awareness, more talking about it, make it an open discussion, have more places for athletes to go to, that to be able to express themselves with people they're going through the same things with. Like I say, it's an AA group. You need a support system. Who's going to support you more than the people that are going through the same things from you? And I mean, it's for us from top to bottom. I know guys who are making hundreds of $1,000s to guys who are making $2,000 to $3,000, and guess what? They still go through the same mental battles of dealing with a season and dealing with people and dealing with certain situations. And that even goes for people, players from other countries to other countries. You go, a guy from Uruguay might go play in Turkey. He's got to deal with that too. Different language, different food, different cultures, different basketball, different way thought process. You know what I mean? Your mental mind gets fatigued. Being able to put on a pedestal to perform at such a high level at all times because your job is counting on it, your family's counting on it, your livelihood is counting on it. You love this game, you're committed to it, you're working towards it, and so much it goes into it that is stressful. That's a lot on the mind. Need that support system. We need to raise the awareness more and more so we can help each other get through it. Because me personally, listen, there's enough for everybody. There is enough for everybody to be productive. There's enough for everybody to have great careers. There's enough for everybody to get on teams and have a great career and use that money to grow themselves or just make life whatever they want to out of it. There's enough. There's enough to go around for everybody. But we have to start coming together. We have to start bringing the awareness and just understand that one of the biggest goals to all this is everybody having a strong mindset to be able to withstand and thrive. Just because you can't be the one type of one like, okay, I'm doing good, I don't care about him. We all can win, we all can eat. There's enough to go around. We don't have to put down another person and not care about. You might have some words that might be able to help another player on another team, but just because you're going against him, you won't say nothing because I'm competing against him. You don't know what that man might be going through, and he just needed. I know every time I go to a gym and every time I have to play somebody, if I see another import, what's up, bro? How you doing? You doing good? How your situation? You straight? I start doing that more and more because most guys, they see another player and they just kind of shadow, like, oh, no, I'm not going to say nothing to him. Bro, we came from the crib. We both from the States. We both connect more than anybody in this whole country. So we might as well rock with each other and get through whatever. Hey, man, take my Instagram down, man. Hit me up. Let's talk about the league, man. Whatever you need, I might be able to help you out with something. Whatever. We gotta do that more. We have to do that more. Listen, that's all I have for this episode. I hope you guys enjoyed all these controversial topics today. This was very fun for me. It's very fun for me to be able to talk about this because there's a different spin. I never really talk about the controversial questions and topics about the overseas basketball life. I just give a lot of information and how you strengthen your mind. Yes, all that is fine and dandy and well and great, but there are some things that need to be questioned. There are some things that need to be questioned. I've enjoyed this. I hope you enjoyed this. Pass this along. Give this to someone who wants to play the game, who's interested about the overseas basketball life. I am your host, Arnold Lewis. Make sure you guys like, subscribe, go to Apple Podcasts, hit a 5-star rating, share this with a friend. Remember, greatness is a habit, not a right. That's all I got. Till next time.
Hey guys, thanks for tuning into the show. Please subscribe on our YouTube, Spotify, Apple, and wherever you listen to your podcast. I greatly appreciate it.